A lot of y'all on TikTok have been asking me, how should I make my first beat? So today in this video, we're gonna go over everything you need. Drum kits, sounds, how to actually put the sounds into the DAW, and what DAW you should be using. I remember when I first started, a lot of these videos seemed super complicated to me. I didn't really understand what they were saying. So I'm gonna try to make this as simple as possible. All links will be in the description for everything you need from DAW, drums, sounds, anything you need. Anyways, I hope this helps you out and let's get started. Alright, so first what you're going to want to do is download your DAW. A DAW is a digital audio workstation, and there are many from Ableton, GarageBand, and here we have FL Studio. So this tutorial is going to be going over FL Studio. That's just what I personally use. I find it the easiest, most like visually appealing. Some people choose Ableton over. Those two are like the top ones. Ableton is also good, but for this we're going to be using FL Studio. FL Studio is free for trial. I used trial for about 2 years before I actually bought FL Studio, and I will say it didn't hold me back then, but if I had a trial now, it would hold me back. But if you're just starting, trial's not going to hold you back. So anyways, you're going to go to this page, I'll put it in the description, and you're just going to download for whatever you have, Mac or Windows. After you download FL Studio, you're going to see something like this. And this may look like a lot of buttons, but trust me, it's really not that bad. So this space over here, with all these lines through it, this is called your playlist. This is where you're going to put your patterns. Your patterns are basically what holds sounds together. For example, I may have one pattern for drums and one pattern for melodies. To put sounds into these patterns, you're going to open up your channel rack. Your channel rack is right next to your piano roll, which is right here. And you're going to click this. For me, I only see sampler because that's the template I have on, but you may see 808 kick, 808 snare, 808 clap, I think, and 808 hi-hat. You can just ignore those. Those are very stock sounds, and they only really fit certain types of music. But if you're looking for more trap sounding, I wouldn't use those, maybe the hi-hat only. Okay, so to put drums into the channel rack, you basically just drag it. So I have my drums over on the left over here, and basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on it and just drag it, and I just drop it into the channel rack. This is a hi-hat. This is in every piece of music, like basically ever. Obviously some doesn't use it, but in rap music, very common. And typically hi-hats are played on a two-step pattern, which looks like this. As you can see, one skip, one skip, one skip. To do this efficiently, you can simply right click on the hi-hat and press fill each 2 steps, and this will put it in that 2-step pattern. And if you click play, which is you can see up here, or you can just click spacebar, it sounds like this. And you kind of already got that groove going on now. Next part of the drums is the clap or snare or both. So first we're going to look at the snare. And again, to put the snare into the channel rack, I'm just clicking on it and dragging it over. Now snares are typically placed on the 3 and 7, and all that really means is placed right here, which is the 3. This is called the 3 because it's on the 3rd and 7th bar. You can see these bars, 1, 2, and then the 3rd one right here. This really isn't important. Just know it goes there. You don't really have to remember the whole bar thing. Now you're going to have something sounding like this. And then what you could do is you could add a clap to it. A clap can replace a snare, so you don't have to have the snare there. You could replace that snare with a clap, and that just gives it a different type of sound. Like for example, this. Some people prefer that over the snare. Me personally, it's just what the type of music I'm making. It changes the sound a little bit, but it's not something you have to really nitpick over until you get deeper into this. So let's move back to the snare, and we're going to add claps now. These are all up to you how you want it to bounce. So there's no like really clap in the right direction, or what we call an accent clap. There's no really accent clap in the right spot. It's just where you want it. So for example, I'm just going to put it here, and we'll see how that sounds. That sounds fine to me. Sometimes I like to layer my snare and clap, so I'll do that. And you already have a small little hi-hat snare clap pattern. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to make this longer. So without going to the piano roll or anything, I'm literally just going to click over here. And you see all those gray notes light up, and that just means it's easier to just click 2-step now. Now is this the right way of doing it? I wouldn't say so, but it's just how I like doing it because it's super easy. You don't have to go in the piano roll or anything. Then I'm just going to fill in the clap and snares on the 3 and 7. Now I've laid those patterns out. I just have it a longer now, so I can now continue adding my accents and snares in more frequent locations or less frequently. Okay, now we have this. This is a very basic pattern. It's one I use all the time, and it's very versatile. So now we're going to move on to the 808. An 808 is, without going too much into history, an 808 is basically just a bass. For example, we have a Zay 808 here, which is a shorter 808, and that sounds like this. You've definitely heard this before if you listen to any rap music. Now what we're going to do is we're going to go into the piano roll. And to go into the piano roll with something specific, you right click it, and you see this piano roll, you click that. Now this may look a little more familiar. It's really just a piano on your computer. All these keys on the left side are different notes, but for now we're just going to focus on C. A typical pattern for an 808 looks like this. You could put this pattern on basically anything and it's going to sound pretty good. It sounds like this. As you can see, it probably sounds very familiar. You've probably heard that sound before 1,000 times. Now, sometimes when you have longer 808 patterns, the 808s tend to overlap each other. They'll play on top of each other. So to stop this, what we do is we click the 808 and we click on envelope, which is this right here. This may look a little crazy, but just focus on this part right now where it says envelope. And what you're going to do is you're going to bring the attack all the way down. You're going to bring the hold all the way up. You're going to bring the decay time all the way down, the sustain all the way up, and the release all the way down. And this will stop the 808s from playing over top each other. And now we have this. Now we have finished our drums. Typically I do the melody before the drums, but for the sake of this video, we're going to do drums before the melody just to keep it as simple as possible. Now, let's move on to the melody. To start on a melody, I'm going to add a second pattern, which I was talking about in the beginning. To add a second pattern, I'm just going to go up to where it says pattern 1, and I'm going to click the plus sign. It's going to bring up this little box. It's going to say pattern 2 name. I'm not going to name anything specific. I'm literally just going to name it pattern 2. So I'm just going to click this check mark. Now, I'm going back to the channel rack, which is right next to the piano roll. I'm going to click that. And you could see we still have all of our drums, but there's nothing there because this is a different pattern. Now, to actually make sound, you have to add what's called a VST or a plugin. A VST or plugin is basically just a virtual instrument. There's hundreds of them. A lot of them cost a lot of money. Some of them are free, for example, in FL Studio. To add a VST or a plugin, what you're going to do is you're going to click this plus sign at the bottom of the channel rack. You're going to see a list of plugins. A lot of the free ones are Flex, for example, Citrus, and the infamous FL Keys. These all produce different types of sounds. Some do produce similar sounds, but you kind of know what you're going into when you click one of these. This, of course, just comes with experience. On the trial version, you might not be able to use a lot of these. So what I used to do is I used to use these things called one-shots. One-shots are basically VST sounds that are put into audio files. These sounds can be used in the channel rack similar to drums, and you could just click the notes out. Okay, so if you look into my drum kit, you'll see this little thing called CH-rope. CH stands for chord, so that just basically means the sound should be used for chords. Chords are basically 2 or more notes played together at once. Of course, you don't have to use it for a chord, but this is what we're going to be focusing on today, just to keep it as simple as possible. So what you do with the sound is you do the same thing you do with the drums. You drag it, and you drop it into the channel rack. We're also going to do the same thing we did with the 808 with the envelope. So we're going to click it. We're going to click envelope right here. And we're going to bring the attack down, the hold up, the decay down, the sustain up, and the release down. We're going to right click the sound and click piano roll. Now this is where it gets a lot more complicated, to be frank. You're going to have to place your own notes, and a lot of people don't really understand what sounds good. In music, there are keys, and those are basically notes that sound well together. For now, we're just going to be using C major. Don't really have to think about it. Just know is these highlighted notes right here, all the white keys. So to make some basic chords, I'm literally just going to start on C. I'm going to click on C, and we have a C note. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to look for another note, another white note, and I'm just going to click that. So let's just click G, and now we have a chord. As you can hear, they kind of harmonize together well. And we can't just have that playing over and over again, so we're going to move on to this next bar. No, I kind of want to go down, so I'm going to click, let's click G again, and let's click D up here. This is all random, I'm not using any music theory here. I just know it's going to sound well together because it's the white notes. And of course, it's on time. Now let's see how that sounds together. Now we have a chord progression. This just means how the chord moves throughout the music. Then again, we can't have this repeating over and over again. So let's put another note down over here. Let's click A and maybe we'll do D again. Now let's see how that sounds. Now what I kind of hear is it going up slightly. So I think I'm going to do C as a bottom note and F as our top note. And that's just kind of what I heard in my head. So let's see how that sounds. Sounds good to me. Now we have a very basic chord progression or melody. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to press X to get out of the piano roll. And I'm going to press X to get out of the channel rack. And remember how we had those two patterns before? So pattern 1 being our drums, pattern 2 being our melody. We're going to drag pattern 1 over to the playlist and put on track 1. And we're going to drag pattern 2, move it to track 2 in our playlist. And now what we have is an arrangement. An arrangement is just how the music is arranged. So if we just press this play, we're going to hear the drums and the melody play together. First, you have to make sure you're actually playing in the arrangement. So up here, next to the play and pause, you have pattern and song. We're going to click song so it plays in the playlist. And you'll see this little green arrow. Now we click play. There we have a very basic arrangement. Now to arrange your songs, you're basically just going to cut certain parts out at certain moments. For example, I want this to repeat. So I'm going to click it, press it over here, click this, press it over here, click this, press it over here, over here. There are shortcuts to do this, but for now we're just going to be clicking them in. And now we have it repeating 3 times in a row. And for example, maybe I want the drums to cut out here. So what I'm going to do is click the slice tool up here, or C, and I'm going to slice this last part of the drums by just dragging down. Now I want to delete that last part, so I click this tool, the delete tool, and I just click on that last part. You can also right click that. And now we're just going to skip over here. Now we have this. You guys can kind of hear how that sounds. So now I want to have the melody play by itself and the drums come back in after the melody plays by itself. We're going to skip to the melody playing by itself and we have this. And after that, you would have your first beat. This, of course, is very simple. There's no leads or anything. It's literally just chords and drums. But you listen to it and it sounds fine. If I made this as my first beat, I'd be extremely proud. Now, you kind of want to export this or save it. In the trial version, you can't save the actual project, but you can export it as an audio file. So what you do is you click File at the top left, and you look down and you see export. Me personally, I export as WAV and MP3. So what I do is I click audio and then I click WAV file, and then you have this. This looks super complicated, but ignore pretty much all these settings. You can figure that out once you get more into it. Mainly they're just quality settings. What I do is I click MP3 because WAV is already selected, and make sure you have full song and leave remainder selected. And then what you do is you just press start. And now you have the audio of your beat wherever you selected it to be saved to. And now you have your first beat. I try to make this as easy as possible, as straightforward as possible, nothing complicated, just so you can kind of get a wrap around what it's like and where you need to go for certain things. If you guys would like something more in depth or something specific you're looking for, you guys can comment that or DM me. Either way is fine. Anyways, I hope this helped, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.